you all for being here with us today. So I will also address this in 3 parts. I think the first is, looking at the title of today's panel, Peace is Local. In that same vein, militarism is also local. So I think Diana, naming militarization and identifying it in Mexico and in different Latin American countries, because I think it behooves us all here in the United States to identify militarism in all of our local communities, how it's showing up, and denormalize it. So when I'm saying militarism, I'm thinking of this process of making normal, making desirable military solutions to conflicts and societal needs rather than diplomatic ones. And that's not just on the battlefield, that's in our daily lives. We see it here in DC, just a few meters away. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles. Our communities have been ravaged by militarized police forces that are tearing families apart, and unfortunately, given the Supreme Court ruling yesterday, it will only continue and ramp up. Last week in Georgia, we saw the largest ever immigration raid, over 400 people detained, over 300 Korean migrant workers. And so this is all not normal. And we are spending so much on the military, nearly $1 trillion military budget. And just a few months ago, Trump signed over $150 billion to ICE, making it the largest police force in this country and actually much larger than many foreign countries' military forces combined. So this is, it's hard to feel like every day we're in a state of emergency, but I think it is incumbent upon feminists, upon peacemakers to just every day remind ourselves and those around us that none of this is normal, and to call out militarism everywhere we see it. The second thing I would say is just bridging this foreign and domestic divide, what can often be seen as 2 distinct conversations, but are actually just one, and I think does a disservice to us when we silo ourselves, because as mentioned with the military budget and military spending, the folks who are making those decisions, I'll quote a lawmaker, the former chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. She literally said these issues are all interconnected, referring to defense and security spending in the Asia Pacific, at the US-Mexico border, in Ukraine, in Israel. She was saying, make no mistakes, these issues are all interconnected. And so as those of us who are thinking about peace activism, we also cannot be missing those interconnections. We cannot be working in silos. We have to be working together. So housing advocates have to be talking to the people who are trying to end forever wars abroad. Folks who are interested in education and in mothers' rights and in women's rights also need to be thinking about how endless military spending and drone strikes are taking away resources from programs at home, and that would advance feminist peace both here and abroad. Take for example Korea. We have nearly 30,000 troops, U.S. troops in Korea. We spend anywhere from $3 to over $5 billion a year on stationing those troops there. And this leads to a lot of gender-based violence in military camp towns. We also have 2 million landmines still in the DMZ that harm women every day who are trying to go out into the fields and farm and work. And so we also need to have these transnational connections to show the daily costs of ongoing 70+ years of war, and to show that this is not keeping any of us safe, redefining security by uplifting the lived experiences of women, both here in the US and abroad. And finally, I would just say, be organized and be an organizer. I think that as we're kind of referencing here on this panel, funders have a really important role to play, both in being organized by your grantees, by your partners. We, Women Across DMZ, just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we brought activists and philanthropists to Korea. We went to the sites of the most scarred decades of US militarism, base expansion, women farmers who have been displaced, women landmine victims. And I have to say that the effect that that had on the philanthropist partners that we brought over, they've come back and they are lit up, and they are organizing for us. They're connecting me to other activists, both who are doing domestic and foreign policy work. So find those opportunities and go to the sites of US militarism. And I would also say organize us. As grantees, we we are always looking to expand our programming, to make new connections, to have those conversations and big, bold ideas, and you have bird's eye views of all of our work in the landscape. And so, I'm thankful to Mondre for bringing us together on this panel, meeting folks for the first time, and I think that these are the seeds that can be planted by all of you in this room.